What's up, tribe? Hi. Ooh, I was loud. I was loud to myself that time. What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here. We got a double header tonight because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. So I didn't want to do Married to Medicine. I was either going to do Married to Medicine tonight and do Traitors tomorrow or vice versa. But I decided to do Traitors tonight and do Married to Medicine tomorrow because I didn't want to have to rush through trying to watch it and then review it. And it would have been late, right? So I said, well, I already watched Traitors, so I'll do Traitors. So I think I opened up the chat on both channels. So normally I do members only on the main channel, but I think I opened it up on both channels. So let me know if you guys can chat on both channels. Love you, really be all members. There's a special role, but first time visitors this way. Yes, y'all follow Kenneth. Y'all follow Kenneth. Y'all follow Kenneth because Kenneth is the head Ursha over here. I don't watch this show, but I'm here to listen. Well, thank you, Cherise. Thank you, my love. What up, Danny? Danny. Hey, girl. We need to talk, girl. You just finished the episodes. Okay, well, listen. So listen, y'all. I'm late to the game. When the first Traitors came out, I didn't watch it, right? I didn't watch it until maybe about 2 months ago. And I binged it. Like I watched back to back to back to back. Because once I watched the first episode, I could not stop. So first of all, so season 2 has started. Now, this is a show that's based on a BBC show. So there's a British version. So you go to Peacock. It's on Peacock. The first 3 episodes dropped, and now it's going to be 1 episode per week until they finish, which is going to drive me crazy, right? Because I love to being able to watch back to back to back and just get it all over with. Because a lot of it, they build up for drama and the cliffhangers. I be mad. I'm like, get to the next episode. But I guess I just have to do it that way. So they showed us the first 3 episodes. A couple of changes this year from last season, and then I'm going to tell you who's on the show. The first change is that last season they had some, quote unquote, regular people, and then they had some, and then they had reality stars. Give or take, most of them were reality stars. This time, all of these people are from reality star. Well, no, that's not true. Almost all of them are reality show people. We'll get to the list in a minute. But almost all of them have been on reality shows, and mostly the UK and Australia versions are good too. I may have to go binge those too, Tasha. I may have to go watch those too. But this season, all of these people are reality show, except for, like I said, I think it's only one person that's not from a reality show. He's a politician, but we'll get to him in a second. So that's the first difference, which I kind of liked us having like the quote unquote regular people. One of the guys was a TikTok star, recognized him from TikTok, but everybody else I did not know. I like that because you didn't really know anything about them and you kind of got their backstory as the season went on. But I'm not mad that this is an all celebrity season. I'm not mad at that either. The second difference is last season we had 3 traitors from the beginning. This season we had 1 traitor. I mean, they had 2 traitors, and then they recruited the 3rd traitor. Now I have to go watch the UK version because everybody's saying watch the UK version. Okay. So that was different as well, that they got an opportunity to recruit a 3rd traitor. Now, last year, remember, they did end up being able to recruit one of the traitors got found out or something. What happened in the first season? But I know they ended up recruiting somebody last season. I do remember that, but it was later on in the season. And then they showed us that they have a secret player, that somebody is going to come into this season late. I think there's some sort of twist with a secret player coming in later on. Don't know all of the details of that, but that's something to sort of look forward to. So first of all, let me go and let you know who all is here, okay? There are 21 people, okay? And for those who don't know what Traitors is, I know a few of you said you don't watch the show, you just here to support me, and I appreciate it. So let me tell you what Traitors is. Traitors is a reality game show, for lack of a better word. And it streams on Peacock. Like I said, it's a UK version, an Australia version, and now we have this one. What other? It's on Peacock. It's not streaming. It's just a Peacock show. I have DirecTV also, and I don't believe it's coming on. It comes on DirecTV. Dr. Will is the rumor secret player. Ooh, okay. Don't tell me any spoilers though, you guys. I know some of y'all read the stuff or whatever. I don't want to know no spoilers. So they have these 21 people in a castle in Scotland, right? And the object of the game is to be able to identify and eliminate the traitors. If you eliminate all 3 traitors, then the pot is split with the people who are still in the house. If the traitors make it to the end, then they get to keep the money. And last season, the one traitor ended up basically flipping it on everybody, and she walked away with the whole pot. And I wasn't mad about it. Okay, she played the game well. So I don't want to tell you who it is in case you didn't watch season 1. It's still streaming on Peacock, but she played the game well. Oh, I just told you basically, didn't I? Sorry. Anyway, so as the game goes on, they play these games and it builds up. What night does it come on Peacock? It debuted on Tuesday or Wednesday. So maybe every Tuesday or Wednesday. Thank you, Yana. Thank you, my love. Today is, when did it start? No, it started on Friday. So I guess every Friday we'll get a new episode. So right now there are 3 episodes there. But maybe on Friday we'll get, I think it was Friday. So, and then they play these games to build up the pot. So let me tell you who's on the show. We have Phaedra Parks, Sheree Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son, who's dating Larsa Pippen from the Real Housewives of Miami. Both of them are there. Peppermint from RuPaul's Drag Race. Somebody said they didn't know who Peppermint was. Peppermint is from RuPaul's Drag Race. We had Sandra from Survivor. We had CT and Bananas from The Challenge. Dan and Janelle from Big Brother. MJ from Shaws of Sunset. Trishelle from The Challenge and Real World. Was that Vegas she was on? Pavarotti, and I know I said that woman's name wrong, but she's from Survivor. Peter from The Bachelor. Kevin from Bling Empire. John, who's a former Speaker of the House of Parliament. That's the equivalent of like John Boehner being on this show. But okay, we'll get back to him. Dante, who's a boxing champ. Burgess from Love Island. I can't read my own handwriting. Max from Dancing with the Stars. Tamra from the Real Housewives of OC. And then Inkshi from Love Island. So all of those people, for the exception of the guy who was a Speaker of the House and the boxer, are from ReallyTV. Thank you, Chef Don Don. Thursdays at 9:00, according to Dateline. And he gave you the article so you could see all of that. Okay. Just listening, same the last of my day, Vanessa Williams on his 32-year release of this day. Well, okay, 32 years. Oh, that makes me feel so old. Wait a minute. Oh, you just made me feel so old. I remember when that song came out. That was 32 years ago. Oh, I just had a moment. You just made me take a really big pause. 32 years? It can't be 30. Was it 32? Oh my God. Oh. ain't gonna tell y'all where I was when the song came on. Okay, so it's interesting to see all of these different players on the show because a lot of them have past relationships that they're bringing onto the show. For example, CT and Bananas, they have their ups and downs. They have a very up and down relationship because they've been competitors for so long on these challenge shows where again it's about strategy. Sometimes you have to stab people in the back, you build alliances, and so they've gone back and forth. Trishelle, who didn't have the best relationship with Johnny Bananas, again from the challenge. We have Phaedra and Sheree who know each other from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They're not enemies, you know what I'm saying? So they have a connection there. The big brother, we have Janelle, Dan, who they had a tumultuous relationship. But whenever these people get on these types of shows, they always generally, I shouldn't say always, they generally form alliances because it's like, listen, I know you, you know me. We may not have gotten along on our show, but we need to come together on this show. And if it gets to a point where we gotta, go head to head, then may the best man win. So I do think that adds an extra layer of strategy in there for some of these people. So the show starts, you know how that goes. Everybody comes in, blah, blah, blah. The host, oh, what's my man's name? I didn't write his name down. I love him though. He's an actor. He used to be on that show that I used to love where he played the college professor. It was only on for like 2 seasons, I think. But he played the college professor. Whoopi Goldberg was on that show. Y'all know I knew because Whoopi was on that show. But he also wrote like these true crime novels. Alan, thank you. Alan, thank you. So he invites them in and, he does his thing, telling them how, the traitors will be chosen, yada, yada, yada. So they all sit down in one room. They sit at a big round table. They have to put on blindfolds. And basically, Alan walks the room. And whoever he taps on the shoulder is a traitor. Sort of like Duck, Duck, Goose. I remember playing Duck, Duck, Goose when you were a kid. It was like Duck, Duck, Goose. And then the goose had to get up and run away. Okay. Now, for the purposes of editing, we only see him walk around once, but we know he walks around more than once because we hear them say on the last time Alan walked around the circle, boom, boom, boom. So he taps Phaedra on the shoulder and he taps Dan on the shoulder. Now, initially, I thought these were pretty good choices. Dan plays a good villain. He plays a strategic game. If you watched him on Big Brother, you know that to be the case. Phaedra, we know, is conniving and sneaky and all of those things. So I thought initially those were really good choices. I would not have minded seeing some of the other people that I wouldn't minded to see as a traitor, I think might have been obvious choices. For example, I wouldn't have minded seeing Janelle a traitor. But I think, again, that's the obvious choice is that Janelle is a traitor, right? I would not have minded seeing Johnny Bananas a traitor. But again, sort of obvious. So Dan, I thought was kind of obvious, but maybe not as much. And Phaedra, I definitely understand why they would pick a Phaedra. Some of these other people I don't know, so I can't say they would have made a good one or not. I don't know them, right? Sandra needed to be picked. Now, I don't watch Survivor, but Sandra definitely is giving me she could have done the job. You know what I mean? From what I've seen from her so far, I've definitely seen that she could have done the job. I'm glad that they did not pick Sheree. Sheree cannot lie. And she would have definitely gotten, Sheree can't lie. You know what? CT needs to be in the position that CT's in. My problem, we're going to get to strategy in a second. So the first mission that they went on, they had to, it was similar to the first mission they had last year. John, I think, is a plan. It's something about John that's just, okay, let's get back to that. So when they were picking the people, now here's the thing. A show like Traitors makes you paranoid because the whole premise of the show is figuring out who is a traitor. And if you're not a traitor, you suspect everybody, right? If you know you're not a traitor, you suspect everybody of being a traitor. So it gets to be paranoid. You be like, you see how she blinked at me? Yeah, she's a traitor. Because that's what happened with Peppermint. We'll get to that in a second. So it was like, I'm sorry. So as they were going around the circle, John, who's the older guy who was a member of parliament, John was breathing heavy. And of course, the camera got it. And then he was kind of like, so of course, now we're paranoid. And Janelle was like, you were sitting right. Was it Janelle? Was like, you were sitting right next to me and you seem to be having some problems with your breathing. And I feel like, maybe that was after you got picked to be a traitor. And, you were so shocked and that threw your breathing off. And I mean, honestly, I was like, I do feel like the breathing, if you were sitting next to me and you were breathing heavy and then you stopped breathing, like you paused, I would think it meant something too. Now, my problem with John is, and I know they edited this way to make it look like people are hesitant, people are lying, like they edited it that way. But John said he had asthma and that he does have problems with his breathing. Now, later on in the next episode 2, his ass is running a marathon. He ain't pausing. He ain't stopping. Hell, he's outrunning the 30-year-olds. This man got to be in his 60s. He outrunning the 30-year-olds. So Tamara, which I thought was actually kind of smart. Yeah, he did fall. But you see, he got his ass right back up and kept running. Did y'all see that? He got his ass up and kept running. Now, Tamara asked a good question. Tamara said, I'm going to see if I can trip him up. Not literally, but figuratively. She said, oh my gosh, my asthma is acting up. I need my inhaler. John, do you have your inhaler? Now, as somebody who has grown up with asthma, I have had it my whole life. When my asthma is not as bad now as it was when I was younger. When I was younger, I was in an emergency room. Every time the seasons changed, I had an asthma attack and I was in an emergency room. When I went away to college, my doctor gave me some inhalers. My asthma, by the time I got to college, it really wasn't that bad. I hardly ever used my inhalers. Matter of fact, they expired before I really used them. A couple of years ago, my asthma started acting up again to the point where I had to go to the emergency room once and get a nebulizer, all these different things, get a breathing treatment, whatever. My doctor I hadn't been on any medication for years. My doctor started back on an inhaler, and I have to use an inhaler from time to time. Now, I ain't about to sit here and tell y'all I ain't never. Now, I see Amber say you don't share inhalers. I ain't about to sit here and tell y'all I ain't never used nobody else's inhaler. I ain't about to sit here and tell you that somebody else ain't never used my inhaler. Because listen, let me tell you something. And I get it. I get it. It's not always the same medication. It's not always, and I ain't saying it's the best idea. Don't use inhalers. Don't share inhalers. I'm telling you. So I didn't think it was a bad thing to try to trip him up to be like, oh my gosh, my breathing. Do you have an inhaler? However, that doesn't automatically mean he's lying either, just because in this particular moment, he good. Because people who have asthma, that you have good days, you have bad days. Now, with that being said, I don't think he had no damn asthma. I believe that he probably had asthma when he was a kid, just like I did, and it's not like it used to be. I think his ass just was breathing heavy because he was nervous and it was a stressful situation. But of course, on a show like this, that's just not an acceptable answer because he said that. He said that. But either way, Janelle made a big deal about it. And of course, everybody was like, it's that herd mentality. Everybody was like, yeah, that must mean something. So they go on their first mission. And their first mission, they have to put this puzzle together. And then they have to light it up so that the sparks go off or whatever. Right. Well, when he went back and said he had it when he was a kid, why bring it up? That's what I'm saying, Amber. I feel like it was one of those things where he was just breathing heavy. I feel like it was edited that way to make it look like he was lying or whatever. But I don't know. I just don't feel like it's that big of a deal. I don't know. So then they get to the challenge. This is right up CT and Banana's alley. They knew exactly how to do this. This is something that they've done a million times on the challenge. You have a treasure map over here, and you have half the group has to find the right map. You got the other half of the group, they had to get in a boat, they had to swim over to where the puzzle pieces were, and they had to try to put the puzzle together, not knowing what the puzzle was because the other group had to find the map first. Now, the trick was, first of all, they were all tied together, so they had to untie themselves first before they could get started. And the second trick was there were three medallions where basically you would be safe for the night. You couldn't be, I have to say in parentheses KILLED. I can't say that word too many times in the video, but you couldn't be that if you got the little pendant. So as they were untied, now at first they were starting off with everybody. Once you got untied, you helped the other people that help everybody to get untied. Not Janelle. Janelle took her happy ass and ran right over there and got safety. Now, to her credit, once she got safety, she came back and she got back in the game. But her thing was, look, I ain't gonna be the first one to go home. I ain't mad at Janelle. They put him there for a reason. Now, I think that should make her teammates side just a little bit. What I know about Janelle, knowing her from Big Brother, you don't want to give Janelle too much. You don't want, Janelle is very strategic and she's going to find the angle. And we've seen that twice now. However, because of the way that Janelle is playing, that's also stay under the radar because most people are going to be like, I don't think she's a traitor because she's playing way too hard to stay here. Or they could say, well, she is playing way too hard, so she probably is the traitor, right? SCK said they need to get rid of Janelle. I think they need to get rid of Janelle just because she's a selfish player, personally. I think she'll put herself above the team, and the purpose is to raise the money, and so, yeah. But I don't blame her for doing that. Now, wasn't Phaedra doing the damn thing she was looking? No, Phaedra, in my opinion, Phaedra knew she was safe, and so Phaedra was doing just enough to make it look like she was playing without playing too hard. That's what I think Phaedra was doing. Because Phaedra knew she had already been picked as a traitor, so she was like, I mean, I don't really have to play that hard. And I don't think, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm paying attention to with Phaedra. She ain't playing that hard. So CT and Bananas basically ended up having to take over. And they did get the mission done at the last second. So we get back to the house and they don't have an elimination. I mean, they don't do a round table to try to identify the traitor that first night. But Alan does tell them that there will be, that the traitors will meet that night and somebody will be eliminated and they will be recruiting. No. Did somebody get eliminated that first night? They recruited their first traitor. So I want to make sure I got that right. I didn't take good notes, y'all. I watched 3 episodes. I got so caught up in the episode, I really wasn't taking good notes. So that night, Phaedra and Dan meet, and they are told that they have to pick. Well, they already knew they had to pick a third traitor. So they decided they're gonna pick, what's her name? I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm calling her Pavarotti, and I know that ain't that girl's name, but Pavarotti from Survivor. I don't think that's a horrible choice, but what I did notice in those deliberations is that Dan feels like he can push Phaedra around. He feels like that, Phaedra may have her own idea, but that he can manipulate her to get what he wants done. And it did seem like that in that first figuring out who they were going to pick to be a traitor. It did seem like he was able to sort of manipulate Phaedra, but Phaedra's no dummy. And Phaedra, I think Phaedra is allowing Dan to hang himself, which he is kind of doing right now. So the first thing they did was the first person they eliminated, listen, they got rid of Johnny Bananas. I thought that was the dumbest move. And Phaedra even said, okay, Bananas went home. My bad, my bad, my bad. Okay, so Bananas went home first. I thought that was stupid. Phaedra said he can help us win challenges. Bananas and CT are the people you keep around for a while. You may not keep them for long, but you keep them around for a while, because did you not see that if it hadn't been for Johnny Bananas and CT, y'all might not have got that first mission done. Why wouldn't you keep him around for a couple of weeks and use him as a shield? Because of his personality, he has such a big personality and he is so arrogant. Why not keep him around? Even if it's just for a couple of weeks. I thought that was a dumb move that they sent him home first. Why wouldn't right? You sent home if right now your mission is to win. Right now your mission is to win money. Now, I don't know if I would have sent John home, only because Janelle sort of put suspicion out there that John is a traitor. Let him stay for a couple of weeks. Let him stay around for a little while, because people already think he's the traitor. You see what I'm saying? I mean, Janelle already put that out there. Now, Kevin, yeah, Kevin's dead weight. Get rid of Kevin. Kevin from Bling Empire, that's who I would have sent home. The person I would have sent home first would have been Kevin. That's me. So I thought it was stupid for them to get rid of Johnny Bananas. And that immediately let me know that this set of traitors are not as strategic as the season one, because season one would have done that. Number one, they would have kept John for exactly what I said. Hey, John is he's a good cover. Like, they already suspect that he's a traitor. Let him stay. Why would we eliminate somebody that they're already thinking they already have suspicions of? Let them stay. The other thing that made me feel like they didn't have any they didn't have good strategy is like I said, Johnny will help you, and his personality is so big. So that to me told me that these traders are already not as strategic as last season. Okay. They just not thinking. Then Dan is not thinking strategy. Dan is thinking emotionally. And we're going to see that as we get into. So that was pretty much episode 1 / carryover to episode 2. So episode 2, they have this whole dramatic thing about who's coming down, who's going to stay, who's going to stay. And when they saw that it was Johnny Bananas that was gone, basically everybody was like, what the F? Like, why would you send home Johnny? Right. And going after the guys isn't helping Dan's game either. Absolutely. So it did make sense to me. To me, I feel like that was the ego move to get rid of Johnny. But yeah, okay. So we come back. We have this whole dramatic thing with breakfast. They realize Johnny's gone. And CT automatically feels like, oh, well, damn, that's not a good look for me, because now I feel like I got a target on my back. Okay. So after that, we get into the next challenge. So the next challenge, I'm sorry, y'all, I did not take good notes. Is the second day when the challenge is at night. I'm sorry. Y'all gotta help me. I'll do better with the notes next time. Child, it was 3 episodes. It slid well. How well do you know the people? The group of 3. Yes, thank you. It was a group of 3. Thank you. So it was the group of 3 where they had to run through this field and they had to hold on. Wait a minute. No, was it the scarecrow or was it the nighttime one? Wait a minute. You're right. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all right. It was the scarecrow. It was the scarecrow. I'm sorry. So the scarecrow. So they had to run through this field in groups of 3 or 4, however many groups it was. We had the red group, I think the yellow group, the blue group. And this is where John fell, but he was outrunning them people with his asthma and his breathing heavy, but he was running his ass off, okay? John was running his ass off. So they had to pick the right answer based on how well you know people, right? So, like, the first question was, who do you think has the more influence, Larsa or Marcus? And the answer was Marcus. Then the next question was, who's more popular, Peppermint or I forgot who the second person was. But everybody picked the second person except for one group. A lot of people don't know who Peppermint is, but Peppermint is very well known and she's very popular. Like I said, she started on RuPaul. Well, not started, but we got to know her on RuPaul's Drag Race. But she's gone on to do Broadway and all kinds of stuff. Like, she's very Deontay, right? She's very well known. So only one group got that right. So the purpose was to get to if you were the first team to get to the big field with the scarecrows, then as they were 3 safeties in the scarecrows, and then the rest of them had money. Dan got a safety, which helped a little bit because, of course, he's a traitor. So people were like, well, why would he want safety if he's a traitor? The third question was, I'm going to take better notes next time, y'all. Anyway, there was a third question. But neither here nor there. The only person I got safety was Dan. Everybody else was out. But when they got back to the house, Marcus said some things that made Dan a little nervous. He started talking logic, strategy, and he started talking about, you got to pay attention to the people who are quiet. He said, you got to pay attention to the people who are quiet, because the people who are quiet were okay because they had their deliberation. Who would you take advice from? Thank you. They had their deliberation, right? The shields off of safety, right? And during the deliberation, basically, okay, let me rewind. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm all over the place. Let me rewind. That first night, there was a conversation had between, they were all in a group, and Peppermint was there, Trishelle was there, Sheree was there, a few other people. And Trishelle said, well, yeah, it's time to go to bed. If I die tonight, then we'll know Peppermint did it. Because Peppermint was like, yeah, I'm not ready to go anywhere. I've got too many outfits to show y'all. So Peppermint was like, what? Like, what, girl? And she laughed it off, and it was all a joke. At least we thought. So here comes Trishelle talking about, I think Peppermint could be the traitor, because she gave me this look when I said, if I die tonight, then we'll know that Peppermint's the traitor. And it was just really weird. It was really weird. And so from there, now all of a sudden, all the attention is on Peppermint, right? So when they get into deliberations, it was Peppermint and it was John. So John and his breathing, Peppermint and the look that she gave Trishelle. Now, Peppermint, what's up, watermelon sugar, coming to the stage? So what didn't help was when Peppermint was trying to plead her case, and she accidentally said, what if I'm the traitor? And she meant to say if I was a faithful. And of course, again, everybody's already paranoid. And here goes Larsa. You said you were a traitor. You just said it. You just said you were a traitor. So I feel like when they were in deliberations, I feel like Peppermint was starting to get people to think logically and to believe her, until Larsa said, well, You did say you were a traitor, so I don't know what else. Like, you said it. You said it out your own mouth. And from that point, that was just a wrap. Like, that was just a wrap. I do not think it was that serious. When they played it back, the clip back, Peppermint did not make a face. She was actually smiling. It was like, what? Right? And that wasn't the first time that somebody said that. Like, a couple of people had said that. Oh, well, if I die tonight, we'll know who was the traitor. Like, a couple of people made that same joke. So I feel like Trishelle just wanted to be counted. She was trying to get in the mix, and there it is. So Peppermint is the first one to go home. So for those who don't watch the show, the purpose is to try to identify get rid of the 3 traitors. So the more you get rid of the faithfuls, of course, the more you eliminate. You make the pot smaller and if you get rid of all of the faithfuls before you identify all 3 traitors, of course you lose. So the first faithful is gone, and that's Peppermint. And of course, the minute Peppermint was like, I'm a faithful, everybody felt bad about it, right? Everybody felt so bad. Now, Deontay is the person I'm worried about. Deontay was visibly shook. I mean, he was crying. He said, I feel really bad. He said, because, when you feel ganged up on, it's not a fun feeling. I've been there. I've been through that in my life. And it's not a fun feeling to feel like you're being bullied or being ganged up on. So honestly, I feel like Deontay might need to go home because he does the same thing at the next deliberation. I don't think he can handle it. Personally, I don't think he can handle it. So anyway, Peppermint's gone. We have our 3rd traitor, and now we're on episode 3. I hope that's where we are. Yeah, he needs to go. Sean, he needs to go home. So that night after the deliberations, that's when Marcus was like, well, you need to pay attention to the people who didn't say anything, because for the people who don't speak up, the conversation's going the way they wanted to go. They don't want to say too much. They don't want to bring too much attention on themselves because they're happy with what's happening, because other people are suspect. They're not being they're not being, no one is suspecting them, I should say that. And so they're happy with the way things are going. And to be honest with you, that's a valid point, right? That is a valid point. So on this 3rd episode, people are starting to say Dan's name. They're starting to be like, he's a little too quiet. Why isn't he, why isn't he speaking up? Why isn't he saying anything? He's not contributing to the conversations. And he was like, well, I'm just a quiet guy. I'm just a really quiet guy. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That's when Janelle should have immediately been like, oh, hell no, Dan's a traitor. Nobody else on there might know, but Janelle, you know. You know exactly who Dan is. You know how Dan plays. You know how Dan moves. Why you not saying nothing? And I don't even mean say anything to other people, because you don't know who to trust. But in your confessional, you need to be looking at us like, oh, I know it's Dan. Because the minute Dan was like, oh, I'm just quiet, I just sit back and observe, I said, you telling on yourself, because anybody that watched Big Brother know that's a lie. MJ was on his behind, and then Larsa was on. Yeah, we're going to get to that, Danny. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because I don't give Larsa a lot of credit. But Larsa definitely was calling this. Her and MJ. You are absolutely correct. So Max from Dancing with the Stars. Max, who watches Dancing with the Stars? Where's Max from? He had this accent, and I couldn't tell if it was like a hood accent or if he's from another country accent. But Max wasn't feeling it. Max was like, this is stupid. Peppermint is not a traitor. Y'all are all just ganging up on her because this easy instead of us thinking and being strategic. So, of course, people didn't like that. People didn't like that he stood up to them and that he wasn't going along to get along. So at the end, okay, he's from another country. Thank you. So at the end, they vote. And he voted, I forgot who the hell he voted for, child, but he didn't vote for Peppermint. But even Sheree, who defended Peppermint, voted for Peppermint. Now, the one thing I am liking about this season so far for the 2 eliminations that we've had, last season I felt like once the group, just kind of like Big Brother has been the last couple of seasons, it's almost like it has to be unanimous, and it doesn't. Like, that's not who I think it is, so I ain't gonna vote with everybody else just because that's what y'all think. And I feel like, especially in that second vote, I loved the way that second vote went, because there were like 5 different names. And I thought that was really cool. I don't like the fact that one person decides who it's going to be and everybody just goes along with that because it's easier than try to think strategically or going against the grain. But in that first vote, it was mainly Janelle and John and Peppermint got the votes. So second time around, Dan's name, no, I'm sorry. The second morning, the person that they eliminated, that the traitors got rid of, was Marcus. Here's why I say they're not being strategic or as strategic as the traitors from last season. The traitors from last season would never have gotten rid of Marcus. And here's why. They never would have gotten rid of Marcus because Marcus literally sat in that room and all but said Dan is a traitor. He didn't come right out and say, Dan, you are a traitor. What he said was, the person who's quiet is the person we need to worry about. But he was insinuating Dan. Larsa and Marcus, even though they're making them sleep in separate rooms because, of course, at night, we don't know who's going to get the letter. You don't think for 1 minute that Marcus didn't have a conversation with Larsa and tell Larsa his suspicions? Because he clearly suspected Dan. He clearly suspected Dan. You don't think for 1 second that he didn't have that conversation with Larsa? I'm sorry, hello? So Larsa ain't that damn smart. The next day, Larsa was on Dan's ass, but not because she figured it out, but because Marcus said something to her, and then boom, Marcus ends up gone the next morning. You send somebody, listen. When they did that last season, I was like, well, why wouldn't they send so-and-so home? So-and-so suspects them. But you can't move that. You can't be, because if you move that quick, but here's the thing, Tasha. Marcus hadn't persuaded anybody yet. Like, it was just a suspicion. He had his eye on Dan. Here's the thing. Marcus can go home, but the traitors don't have to do it. All Dan had to do, him and Phaedra, strategically drop some stuff in the conversation. The thing about Marcus was, a lot of people were nervous about Marcus too. Well, the traitors were nervous about Marcus too because Max is from Russia. Thank you so much. Because of the Scarecrow game, where they said, who do you think is more believable or more persuasive or whatever? And it was Marcus. Here's the thing. You take that and you drop some seeds of doubt with the group. You have a conversation and say, so what do you guys think about Marcus? The majority of the house thinking that Marcus is the most, that's who they would take advice from. That's dangerous, don't you think? And then you go into another room and you say, so who voted for Marcus that's the person y'all would take advice from? Who thinks they would take their advice from Marcus? See, you don't have to. That's what the traitors did last year. They made the other people do their dirty work. They sowed the seeds of doubt, and then when it got down to the deliberations, they controlled a lot of those deliberations, and they never had. And then they could, as the traitors, they could pluck off pawns. You see what I'm saying? So yes, Marcus needed to go, but the traitors didn't need to do it, because now Larsa is side-eyeing Dan because Marcus and Larsa had a whole conversation. It might not have been on camera, but they had a whole conversation. Because Larsa ain't that smart. I'm sorry. She ain't that damn smart. Now, MJ, I don't know her, but MJ is on Dan's ass too. So now Marcus is gone. Bananas is gone. We get to this next challenge. It's at night. They're in the cemetery. They gotta run around the cemetery with lights, like high beams. If they get caught in the high beam, they're automatically eliminated, and then another player comes in, and they have to open up the graves. Some of the graves have money. Some of the graves have the shields. Once again, who takes control and who tries to give them strategy? CT. Now, you keep CT around for a little bit until you get enough money in the pot, and then you can get rid of CT. Because if CT, the one thing, first of all, I love CT. Let me be clear. I love CT, and I wish CT was a traitor. I love CT. But CT's dangerous. Because CT is a silent leader. And what I mean by that is Johnny Bananas is a loud leader. He gonna let you know. CT is a silent leader. He gets people to trust him. He gets people to respect him. And then people will follow him. CT is also a beast when it comes to competitions. There's CT and Bananas should never, again, you get rid of them eventually, but you don't get rid of them now. And CT is absolutely going to figure out one of those traitors. First of all, Dan about to be gone. I don't, unless Dan really changes up his strategy, he going to be gone in the next 2 eliminations. Within the next 2 eliminations, if he don't switch something up, because Larsa and MJ are going to be able to persuade some people. Because the thing is this, they had some people convinced that this last elimination. They had some people convinced at this last elimination. It ain't going to take a whole lot to get more people on Dan's ass. And Dan has to come up with something better than, I'm just quiet. I'm just figuring things out. I don't want to say anything without any evidence. And exactly. And Phaedra is letting him hang himself. Why wouldn't she? Phaedra ain't doing nothing to help Dan. Now, Pavarotti, she trying to help Dan. And I think she feels like she owes Dan because they chose her to be a traitor. Baby, Phaedra gonna let both of y'all get caught up in that web. And she gonna be sitting on the sideline like the Black Widow she is, playing, twiddling her thumbs and waiting for the smoke to settle. Please understand. So at the cemetery, what's his name, y'all? The guy from Love Island, Big Z, Bergie. Now, Bergie, who up until this point, honestly, has really been a dud, okay? I don't know him from Love Island, but he said, I don't want my main reason for being here so that people don't think that I can be manipulated. I don't want people to think that I can be manipulated, blah, blah, blah. But he figured out the lights. When they were in the cemetery, the lights were making a certain pattern. And nobody would listen to him. Until finally, I believe it was either Deontay or CT got the rest of them to pay attention and listen, that he knew what the hell he was talking about with the lights. Because Tamara kept saying, he's wrong. He's wrong about the lights. He's wrong about the lights. He's wrong about the lights. But he was right about the lights. And once y'all listened to him, they figured it out. And what happened was CT had opened up one of the things, the crypts, whatever, that had one of the shields in it. So Janelle decided, we done figured out this light situation. I know where to move. I know how to maneuver. So I'm going to get this shield real quick. Janelle went and got the shield. Now, from the replay, it really does look like Janelle got there first. It does not look like Janelle snatched that shield from that lady. That's not what it looked like. I could be wrong. But Janelle got the second shield. Now, again, I think that we could go either way with Janelle on this traitor situation. But I do not want Janelle as a traitor. I don't. Do I think she will make a good villain? Yes. But I don't think, I don't want her as one. It was dark. But it looked like Janelle got there first. So neither here nor there, unique, whatever the girl name is, she's trying to make it seem like Janelle stole her shield and she snatched it out of her hand. And Janelle, Janelle will fight. And I don't mean physically, but Janelle won't get in your face. So Janelle was like, oh, she can try to turn the house against me if she wants to. I'm going to have to let her know some things. So when we get into deliberations that night, Janelle's name comes up, Unique, her name comes up. Dan's name comes up. Dan actually got a couple of votes. But Max had actually rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Deontay was like, oh, he couldn't look me in my face after the last elimination. I thought that was real suspicious. No, he was pissed off. Max was pissed off after the last elimination because he didn't like what happened with Peppermint because he felt like it was a gang up for no reason. He saw it for what it was. He saw it for the play that Trishelle was making, that it was some bullshit. That is why Max was upset, okay? So, at the end of the day, Max actually went home, and he had to let them know that he wasn't a traitor. Now, the episode ended with Deontay laying on, well, did it end there? Anyway, Deontay was laying on the couch being real emotional. Deontay need to go home. I just don't think he can handle this. I'm sorry. I just don't think he can handle it. But Dan, you're not out of the woods because MJ and Larsa were like, I told y'all who the traitor was. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. And a couple of people said they changed their vote at the last minute. They were going to vote. Well, they didn't say who they were going to vote for, but they did say they changed their vote at the last minute and they went and they eliminated Max instead of who they were thinking originally. And I think those people were thinking Dan. MJ and Larsa, I think, are going to be able to convince some people. And if Dan does not, oh, damn, thank you, Danny. Now, this is confusing to me. Okay, see, I'm going to take better notes next time. It was 3. I keep saying the same thing. I'm going to stop making excuses. I just didn't take good notes. This third challenge was this Chalice challenge. So they have to eliminate somebody in plain sight. So first, the 3 traitors had to go and get the Chalice out of the library without being seen. Then they have to get the person that they are targeting to drink out of the Chalice so that they can die. I'm really confused about this challenge, and I really have to wait and see how it plays out because that's where we were left hanging. They got the Chalice, and Pavarotti, they are trying to get rid of is it Sandra or MJ? Sheree came up, and then it was a third person that came up. But baby Phaedra let them know y'all not going not Sheree. Y'all can eliminate some up, but you ain't coming for Sheree. So I feel like for right now, Phaedra does sort of have Sheree's back. But I'm confusion about this because here's the thing. The traitors are supposed to be under the radar. For me personally, I would remember this. The next day, I would remember Pavarotti was carrying around this damn dirty ass Chalice, and she got MJ to drink out of it, and now MJ's not here. I would be like, ding, 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 ding. So I'm a little confused because it could be done, but it just seems to me like it's putting a target on them. I could see if it were a Chalice that blended in with what they already were using, and then you just switched it. But it seems to me like it's going to bring a lot of attention to whoever gets somebody to drink out of the damn chalice. You know what I'm saying? Because they're drinking out of chalices. They're just drinking out of clean ones. This is an old brass one that looked like it needed to be polished. Who's drinking out of that? But if you gave it to, but nobody's paying attention, I don't know, Tasha. That's just, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm going to wait and see how the episode plays out. But it was just, I feel like that was a lie. I'm okay with making them do something different. Like, I'm okay with them trying to shake it up. They'll probably think she was just killed. Yeah, I guess that's true. FCK. I guess that's true. I don't know, but it was just really weird. It was just really weird to me. But I guess it's true that that they won't think about it. You know what I'm saying? They did it last season. I don't remember a Rusty one. I don't even remember them doing it last season. But I mean, like I said, I watched all the episodes back to back to back, so I could forget that. I didn't remember them doing it last season though. But we'll see. I mean, it looks like they're going to be able to get, was it MJ or Sandra? One of the two. Right, Sean. Sean said you would get lead poison from that cup. Right. Like, I don't know. So we'll see where we are, you guys. The next episode is next week. The secret player, I think we'll get the secret player in about another, maybe 3 episodes. We'll figure out what the secret player situation is and how they're going to be infused into the game. I think we're going to lose Dan. So we may get another traitor. Because I think we're going to lose Dan. Because I don't know. The tide is turning on Dan. The tide is turning on Dan, and he's going to have to do something to right the ship. But I don't know. Yeah, I do remember that. It was a kid. Okay, I think I remember that now. It was a kid. I think it was. Yeah. I think I remember that now. So anyway, you guys, that's episodes 1 through 3. I'll take better notes next week. My bad. I'll take better notes next week. But I think CT is seeing some things too. But I think CT is going to keep it close to his vest. He doesn't know these people. Like, if Johnny Bananas was still there, I think he would talk to Johnny. But he don't really know these people, and I don't know if he knows who he can trust. So I don't think he's going to talk to too many people. I think he's going to try to play it close to his vest. And when he thinks he knows, he'll pounce. But for right now, I think he's just watching. All right, you guys, let me get off of here. We'll do Married to Medicine tomorrow. I think I'm going to do it for 11. I'm going to try to reach out one more time. I'm going to schedule it for 11, but if I change the time, and you know that means that I made my lunch plans. All right. Right. He's not going to talk game. Right. Remember when Ken and Peter supposed to start a beef? Oh, yeah, that's true, too. I just thought that was... Okay, so Ken and Peter are playing this game where they're going to act like they're beefing and they suspect each other to try to throw off the suspicion. I don't know. I don't think that's a great strategy. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, they're not on anybody's radar, so they don't really need to say shit. Like, Kevin's name nor Peter's name has come up. So I don't even know why they would put their name out there. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a strategy I don't understand. I don't understand putting your name in a conversation that it ain't in. That's just me. I could see if one of their name comes up and then the strategy is to bring up the other person's name to try to split the vote or something. But why bring especially in that elimination, child, they already was talking about 3 other people. They was talking about Dan. They was talking about Janelle. They was talking about Max. Why would you put your name in that conversation? You are not on the radar. But again, maybe that is a strategy that I just don't understand. Maybe my brain don't wrap around that strategy, but I don't know. I just I ain't gonna understand. And when they saw the conversation going the way it was going, I would have hit him with the look like abort mission. We say that strategy for the next one, but we don't need to say. I mean, again, maybe that's a good strategy, but in that particular conversation, it didn't need to happen because it was enough. There were enough eyes on other people. You had Janelle, you had Max, you had Dan, and there was another person's name. Well, no, Peter and yeah, Peter and Kevin. Yeah, don't put your like wait, save that strategy for the next time. Because that strategy only gonna work once. It's only gonna work once. It was not, and again, maybe it's just a strategy I don't understand. So if y'all understand it, y'all tell me. It don't make sense. That didn't make sense to me. Right. Kevin got 2 votes. Right. So now, if you watch last season, the way this thing works is once your name is in the conversation, your name stays in the conversation until you're eliminated. So now that Kevin's name has entered the conversation, people are going to be sitting around going, well, what about Kevin? His name came up last time. What do you think about Kevin? And now Kevin is part of the conversation. You see what I'm saying? Don't start none, won't be none. Don't start none. Well, I just thought that was stupid. When they came up with that strategy, I was like, what? But again, look who we talking about. I don't know Peter, but I know Kevin, and Kevin ain't that damn bright. I'm going to listen, for those of you who don't watch Bling Empire, put Kevin in the same category that you put Larsa in. He ain't that bright. And I used to think that he was pretending. He's not. He's not. Kevin is he's not that. Mm-mm. So again, I don't know why you putting a target on yourself, because it's unnecessary. Okay, see, I don't watch The Bachelor, so I don't know about Peter, but I know Kevin, and Kevin ain't that bright. So when they came up with that strategy, I was like, bless their hearts, because they really thought they came up with something. They really thought they had put something together, honey. They thought, they were like, well, if 1 + 1 = 3, then 3 + 3 is going to equal 10, and we'll be safe. And I was sitting there thinking, now, if one of them were the traitor, I could see that being a strategy to throw suspicion off. But neither one of y'all are a traitor, and y'all name hasn't come up. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, we'll see each other, Lord willing, long as the creek don't rise. I'll see y'all in the morning, and I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.